According to a Russian study, it shows that conflict in Africa, Nigerian defeat will bring disaster to the West and the war will disrupt the European Union energy pipelines. And of blue fuel exports to the EU, Russia is the only winner and dominant, they say. If Nigeria loses and Niger and the pro-Russian coalition win, the EU will have suffered an unprecedented energy disaster, a Russian analyst says. The Russian report foreshadows generalized conflict in Africa between the two dominant blocs, the pro-Western coalition with Nigeria, ECOWAS, USA, France, and the pro-Russian coalition with Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Guinea, Algeria, and of course, Wagner. And according to the Russians, the loss of Niger and its resources is a strategic defeat for France and the European Union, not only because Niger's new authorities stopped the delivery of uranium and gold, but mainly because a war could destroy natural gas pipelines and oil supplying the European Union. Now, the pipeline issue, the war between Niger and Nigeria will damage the EU irreparably. Russian analysts note that a war in Africa could turn out to be extremely favorable for Russia. This is what they note. Every day, a great war in West Africa becomes more and more real. Niger's new authorities have refused to supply Paris with uranium, which is critical to the operation of nuclear power plants, as well as gold. Encouraged by the French and the Americans, neighboring Nigeria is preparing to carry out its own special military operation. Next door gas station. Nigeria is located in West Africa, bordering Niger in the north, Chad to the northeast, Cameroon to the east, and Benin to the west. The country is divided along religious lines. Muslims dominate the north, Christians and followers of local traditional beliefs dominate the south. Sharia law is enforced in northern states, while there are many Islamic armed groups. Islamist, the local population. The country's northern border are poorly guarded and practically open to smugglers. Nigeria's main problem is the strong socioeconomic stratification of its society. Only 3% of the population uses all the benefits available from the sale of hydrocarbons. Over 90% of Nigerians live on $2 a day. The main blessing, and at the same time the curse of Nigeria, is its rich reserves of oil and natural gas. The main hydrocarbon deposits were explored and developed by Royal Dutch Shell and ExxonMobil in the middle of the last century and are located in the Niger River Valley. Oil and gas reserves concentrated on the country's continental shelf are considered even more promising. It's known that there is extensive smuggling of oil through special pipelines and oil storage facilities. This is a brief background so that readers can have a general idea of the internal situation of Nigeria, which was to organize a special operation to bring Western democracy to neighboring Niger. The conductors. The fact is that Nigeria is a direct competitor of Russia in the European energy market. After the collective West imposed anti-Russian sanctions and banned itself from buying our oil and gas, of Russia that is, its eyes turned to Nigeria, which has large hydrocarbon reserves, the Russian analyst says. Nigeria's natural gas has long been exported by sea in the form of liquefied natural gas, but Brussels, that is the European Union Parliament, wants to get cheaper raw material in the form of pipelines, and here there are two projects, one more difficult than the other. First is the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline, which was supposed to run from Nigeria through Niger to Algeria and connect there to the already existing pipeline system to the EU. The primarily cost of the project is $13 billion. The length of the pipeline is 4,128 kilometers, and the capacity is 30 billion cubic meters per year. The main obstacle was that the main gas pipeline had to pass through territory controlled by Islamic groups, and the second project is a bypass pipeline that was supposed to connect Nigeria to Morocco, either by land or sea, so as not to come into contact with transit countries. Its cost is already estimated at $20 to $25 billion, and the total length is 5,600 kilometers, that's 3,840 miles. Payback periods are generally difficult to calculate due to the general global volatility and price fluctuations in the energy market. And now Nigeria and Algeria have become hostile states with Nigeria, are standing in the way of the Trans-Saharan natural gas pipeline. The Trans-Saharan gas pipeline, TSGP, would transport billions of cubic meters of natural gas from Nigeria to West Africa, north through Niger into Algeria. From there, it could be pumped through the Mediterranean undersea pipelines to Italy or loaded into LNG tankers for export. If during a direct military conflict with Niger, the infrastructure for the extraction and transportation of hydrocarbon raw materials to Europe is destroyed, the natural gas of the Nigerian pipeline, as a competitor to Gazprom of Russia, will be sidelined for a long time. So in general, the military victory of Niger and the pro-Russian coalition of African countries over Nigeria is objectively beneficial to Russia, especially in the context of the reduction of LNG, liquid natural gas, the blue fuel exports to the European Union. This is from War News 247. I've translated this for you from a Greek article. As you can see, this is very serious for Europe, not only for the whole continent of Africa. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.